mammoth drive. Finally managed to get the rods out. I've been rewarded with a nice little mirror. Good morning. Just out doing a bit of stalking this morning in this quiet little bay. Just me and the wildlife. A noisy woodpecker. Managed to sneak one out last night from my swim. From way over there on the other side of the bank. Only a 22-pound mirror. But it's a start. So we managed to get the rods out late evening. But at least we've had one, eh? Noticed a few fish showing up here this morning, just along this margin. So I've snuck around with a couple of sawn-offs. Fingers crossed. See if we can nick one out. Well, we got one on, but he's managed to snag me up in the snags down just down by here. So Andrew's over there in the boat. He's literally pumping it up as we go now. He's going to come over, try and rescue me because the fish is still on. I've slackened him off. He's still taking a little bit of line, but he's most definitely snagged. So as soon as Andrew get over here, we'll get him in a net.
With the aid of the boat, the fish was soon in the net.
We're going to need a bigger sling. I don't know what to say. How do we get this in there, bro? Side one, you're going to be proud, kid.
So this has got a pound off. Is the pound for the
for this, yeah.
42 on the dot. 42.
Yeah. Hey! That'll do nicely. What happy he is. That'll do. How is that? Absolute unit. Oh. Stalked out to the margin on a 6-foot dwarf. Unbelievable. Snagged me up and we managed to free him out with a boat. Oh my days. What a fish. What a unit. That's what you call a French whopper. Yeah.
Now that's what we came to Chalet Lake for.
Yes. Stalked out the margins.
Belter.
Correct.
Yes, boys.
Oh. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the girth on it.
The rest of the day was spent getting organised. Little did we know there was a massive storm brewing in this part of France, and soon the conditions were going to change massively.
A nice mid-20 there. Lovely fish. Epic battle. This one just shy of mid-30. Absolute cracking fish, cracking fight and a cracking venue. And this is what we've came here for. A nice scaly mirror. Might not be the biggest in the pond, but it's certainly a looker. Look at this beauty. Another victim of the Scopex squid down here at Chalet Lakes. We're having an awesome social and we've had plenty of bites this morning. Love it. Beautiful carp. Really is a pleasure to catch this one. I'm blown away. Really happy with this.
Well, the weather's really changed last night. We had a massive thunderstorm and then the winds really picked up and it was southwesterly blowing down towards the chalet. And we had fished long and then started to struggle. We couldn't get the rods back out, so we had to drop them short. And then this morning we had a couple of line bites and stuff, and Matt's had a couple, and then I thought I'd better join in with it, and it's ripped off with this fish. Wow, new PB. Common 43.8 on the Scopex squid. Look at the length of that. Can't ask for more than that. Absolutely gobstopper of a mouth, perfect, not another hook mark in it. What a beauty. You can probably tell I'm a bit happy with this one. New PB.
Slapping Andrew.
Give Rusty a slap. He needs a slap.
You'll be having a slap.
What we got here, Paul?
Oh, there we go, guys. 39-pound Chalet Lake mirror. Lot of chunk. Big male fish. Running a bit of milk at the minute, so we know it's a male.
Well
Proper
done,
team effort, boys.
Well done, mate.
Yes.
Get
it.
Have it.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed it, mate.
Plenty of time. We have a load more yet. Winds picked up.
second day.
Sexy conditions. Second day, fantastic.
How long we been here, Paul?
Just over 24 hours, and it's going off.
Yep.
Smashing them
Let's
out.
put
mate.
this one back, get the rods back out, see if we can catch a few more.
Well, this is my instalment to what has been an absolute hectic morning. The lads on the bottom end of the lake absolutely smashed it last night. They've had fish to over 40 pounds, and this is the one that took my bait this morning, the Scopex squid, doing the business as usual. Absolutely beautiful fish, nice clean common.
This is the second night. We've had 10 fish tonight. This is 32-pound mirror. Absolute angry mirror. It's just banging. Fish coming out everywhere. Another belter from last night on the Scopex squid. Hell of a fight on this one. Run me absolutely ragged. I thought I had a cat, to be honest with you. These fish fight really hard. So we were just taking photos of the common, and before you know it, the other rod's away. The spot's really going now. They're on the Scopex squid. They're feeding hard. I think it's going to be a good week. 2 days into the trip. This is fish number 11. And we're having it. Bangers everywhere.
The pattern was already starting to emerge, with most bites coming in the early hours of the morning through dawn up until about breakfast time. So the afternoons were spent making sure the rod's were really on the money and everything was organised for the night ahead.
Well, here we go. Not really everybody's cup of tea, grass carp, but apparently they go up to 50 pounds in here. This one hasn't quite made the 50 pound mark, but it's a nice long clean fish nevertheless. welcome on a nice bright sunny day when the fish are not really playing ball. But yeah, there we go. The grass carp. That's slipping back.
And yet again, Chalet Lake hasn't failed to deliver with a big golden common, fought like stink. They're really having it now. I've got another one in the slammer, and it's a bit bigger than this one, so I should go and get it and introduce you. This morning I've had an absolute screaming take. It's wiped out all my rods. It's been pure carnage this morning, but it was worth it. What I thought was a catfish turned out to be an absolute banger. Feast your eyes on this. Look how long this common is. Like a bar of gold. I'm going to fill it in again tonight and see if I can get one of those magical 40s.
Here we are. Here's a nice mid-20. Had a couple of fish this morning, and we'll slip this one back and we'll go and get a bigger one and we'll show you that one. And here it is, just over 40 pound, absolute pristine common, and this is what we've came here for, and I'm absolutely buzzing.
Well, I must admit, when we decided to come to Chalet Lake, I didn't really know much about the venue, and you know, I was coming more as a cameraman really than anything else, and I didn't really expect to be catching these. Fantastic common. I think that's twice I've beaten my old PB common, which was actually set 21 years ago, believe it or not, and that's twice in 2 days I've done it now. So I'm 38.5. Absolute pristine common. Can't believe it, what a cracker. Well, considering the weather conditions have gone really bitterly cold on us now, which is not what you expect this time of year. I mean, it's 1st of May today, it's pretty grim, but we're still catching plenty. Just thought we'd take a bit of video of this one. It's fairly average size. We've had a lot of these kind of fish, and to be honest, a lot of the time we've just been flopping them straight back. But as it was caught in daylight, the light was nice. Thought I'd have a quick picture of it. Lovely, really thick across the shoulders, nice grey fish. The sun's come out, lovely, gorgeous day. I was just starting to think about having some breakfast, and rod's gone off. Where this proper chunky one. Oh, absolutely immaculate. Oh, what a trip we're having. It's just fantastic. Even the weather's started to brighten up, so forecast is looking good. Having me breakfast now before I put the rods out. Hopefully catch a few more.
Hi guys, you join us at the incredible Chalet Lake in France. We're down here on a group exclusive. We've hired the lake for 4 of us and we're having an absolute great time. What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick walk around the fishery. We'll stop off in a few of the swims and we'll find out a few of the areas of interest that we've found during our stay. So you join me here, I'm on the dam wall area of the lake. I'm currently standing on the pontoon. And if we look over to the left there, we've got loads of rich overhanging trees which produce some fish. And what we have found is we've went out there and we've had a stick around and we've found a real nice hard area just off them trees. And you don't really need to go that tight into the trees either, because there's a gravel area that comes out, I'd say about a rod length, 2 rod lengths out off the trees. It's nice and firm, and just off that you'll find some silt too, so it's definitely an area of interest, and it's produced us some cracking fish. As yet we've had fish up to £40 from over in that area, so yeah, don't ignore that margin. And then if we look round to your right, as I say, this is the dam wall area of the lake, so you'd naturally presume that this is the deeper area of the lake, but it doesn't seem to be the case. You know, we've had a good stick around again, and we're finding average depths of around 7 foot, and it's quite silty out here, so give it a check out.
The far side of the lake is heavily wooded, ideal for the angler looking for some solitude or just a few hours stalking.
So you join me in the smaller of the 2 bays on the fishery, and as you can see, it's a really carpy looking swim. It's the last swim that you can sort of access, although you can carry on around and do a bit of stalking around there. What I will say is, in the few days that we have been here, I've seen plenty of fish moving in and out of here. We've seen lots of fish showing in the trees to my left and my right too, so it's definitely a good area of interest. It might not be the easiest swim to access, but if you get yourself in here, I'm sure you'll do a few more carp. Now I've just took a walk around the forest side of the lake, and I've came up into a swim, and my friend Jason's here. How you doing, Jace?
Good, mate. You okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, good, mate.
What are you doing up here?
Good, good. I just come up to do a bit of stalking, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was around you yesterday. It's been a bit quiet in my swim the last 2 nights, so I thought I'd pop over to quieter side of the lake and do a bit of stalking. I managed to nab a £42 common out a few days ago.
And it was a banger.
It's awesome fish, mate. Absolute awesome fish. Yeah, and I've sneaked a mirror out today as well.
Lovely times, mate. Well done.
Cheers, pal.
So what have we got out in front of us here, Jace?
Well, it's a quiet little bay, mate, at the back end of the lake. Depths are around about 3.5 foot.
So it's reasonably shallow.
Yeah, it's really shallow, mate. All the way across, it's really shallow, mate. Some of the margins are silty, and other parts are quite hard, like, you know.
So where have you had your fish from?
From the siltier side as
Have
it goes.
you?
Yeah, as it goes, yeah.
It's interesting that is, because me and Paul have been having a few fish off the harder areas.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that, you know, it doesn't really matter, I suppose,
No,
what approach you take, as long as you fish well. I think there's a few fish to be had for everyone, isn't there?
Yeah. And they're just subtle little shows, like, you know, you'll just see them nut out up to their gill plates and just go back down, like, and yeah, they're definitely up here, mate.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Jay. I hope you have a few more, and I'll see you a bit later on.
Take care.
So I've just taken a walk to the central area of the lake, and this is where Jason and Andrew are both fishing. As I say, it dominates the middle area of the lake, and it's been producing a few fish. So I've joined Andrew now. How's your fishing been going, mate?
Doing pretty well, doing pretty good, to be honest. We've been baiting up the middle in between the 2 bivvies. Found a little bit of a hard area which we can sort of, you know, both fish to. Me and Jason are putting a rod each on the bait. Sort of a lot of fish have been in the area the last few days. We've been picking them up slowly. Jason's decided to move over on the far side because for some reason the fish tend to be coming over from the left hand side of the spot, so Jason's not kind of feeling there, where for some reason I'm picking up fish off the left hand side. So
well, we've just had a walk round to Jason. He's stalking on the far side, and as I look across the lake right now, it looks like he's into a fish. But is that your marker post out in the middle of the lake there, Andrew?
it is indeed, yeah.
And is that where you've been putting some bait and sharing that area between you and Jason?
Correct, yeah, that is the spot.
Awesome stuff, mate. Well, I hope you continue to have a belting session, as you'd say.
Bag a few belters, mate.
I wish you all the best, and I'll catch up with you a bit later.
Yeah, man.
All right, buddy. Now you join me in the bigger bay of the lake. There's a few different areas of interest out here, isn't there, Paul?
Yeah, we've not fished this end of the lake, Matt, but I came down yesterday in the boat and with a prodding stick and just had a bit more of a feel around and baited a couple of little spots that I found really just for later in the week if we needed a backup plan. And it's a bit different. We've got 2 swims down on this main long bank, and then there's a nice big boarded like helipad swim down on the far bank, and really it goes from here. I'd say it's 5 foot shallowing up to kind of like 4 foot, with some hard patches, some hard clay patches, and generally there's a lot less silt down here. When I say less, I mean at the dam end you've got about 6 to 8 inches I'm feeling with a prodding stick, and then clay underneath. down here you're only on really 2 or 3 inches. The only thing I would say is that the far bank looks really sexy with the overhanging trees and stuff, but it's quite a lot of leaf mould and stuff on the bottom over there. It's quite soft, so yeah, not probably an area I'd really fish at over there. But apart from that, yeah, really nice area. When I was out in the boat, it was quite sunny on the first day, and I saw quite a few fish up here as well, just sunning themselves. So, you know, good swims. We just haven't had a chance to fish them yet, but maybe later in the week.
Well, I've noticed you've put a H block out up the top there. What's the purpose behind that?
Yeah, I was just playing around with the prodding stick, and I found a spot out there that was just rock hard. The bottom of the stick was just covered in like grey clay, no silt whatsoever, and I thought it's only 3.5 foot deep, but we're sort of 4 foot, 4.5 foot around it. But I thought, got a nice spot, could be a rubbing spot for the fish, you know. So I put an H block on it, and I've been going up and just like once a day, just pinging a few boilies on it, just to get it primed really.
Is that your backup plan?
Yeah.
You know, if all else fails.
Yeah, I mean at the moment we're doing really well. We don't need a backup plan, but I always like to have something up my sleeve in case I fancy a move later in the week. And
that's it. If it quietens up, you've got an option, haven't you?
That's it. Got somewhere else to go.
So that's good angling there, mate, and hopefully a few more fish for us. How many fish you had now, Paul?
Oh, I don't know. Losing count now. Quite a few. A couple of decent ones.
Good stuff. A few 40s chucked in the mix.
Yeah, it's all good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, here we go, another Scopex squid victim here at Chalet Lakes. Another banger of a carp, nice dark one, really buzzing with this one. There's still time for another bite or two, so I'm going to slip this one back, get the rods back on the dance floor, and hopefully we'll have another one to show you.
That night the pressure went through the roof, and it seemed only the grasses were willing to feed, as we had half a dozen up to mid-30s. So we're just over halfway through our week out at Chalet Lake now, and fortunately we've all caught some nice fish. We sort of felt our way into the session really, and it was interesting because we've all approached it a little bit different based upon how we fish at home really, I guess, and yeah, it's all worked, which has been interesting. So I mean, tell us about what you've been doing, Matt, because you've certainly been fishing different from me.
Yeah, I have. The typical sort of going to France and fishing, everyone loads up their motors with a hell of a lot of bait, and we did just that, you know. So I'd like to bring it along because there's nothing worse than falling short and not having enough bait for your session. Although I've not opted to sort of go in deep and use it all from the off. I wanted to fish for a bite at a time, just like I would in the UK. There's plenty of carp out in front of us, so little and often was my sort of approach really. Tying up little PVA socks with a couple of hole and a couple of crushed boilies in there, and I've been clipping them onto a multi-rig. And my setup basically coming from a main line, I've been using some tungsten tubing, coming down to your typical lead clip setup with a 2.5 ounce lead on there. And the rod that I've been fishing at a little bit more range, I've been using a 3 ounce lead. Anti-tangle sleeve, as you can see there. Coming down, normal multi-rig style with a little bit of a kicker just coming off the hook, a little bit of silicone tubing. And I've been opting for the bright yellow baits. Yellow and pink seem to be the colour that's working for me down here. And it's produced me a hell of a lot of fish. So
yeah, I'm just fishing them as sort of low line pop-ups. Really.
Low line pop-ups, yeah. You know, just almost
nice
the hook
baits.
size just off the bottom. And it seems to be working for me. I wouldn't say this is the going tactic. I wouldn't say you have to fish in this way, because it's evident that you clearly don't, because there's 4 of us here and we've all used different tactics, haven't we, Paul?
And the beauty of it is it's not a massive lake. As far as we can tell, there's no great snags or anything. Some of the fish have been fighting really hard. Them big commons have been really scrapping, but we're just using standard UK tactics and tackle. Really, it's you know, 15-pound main lines. What sort of size hook are you using?
So I'm using a 4s and 5s. I've been using all week. So if we compare that to my English fishing, I've upped the hook size by 1 size. The fish are just that little bit bigger than what we've got in the UK. So I just wanted something where I could be out, you know, hook and hold if necessary, and it's definitely paying off for me, mate.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect venue for if you've not fished much in France before or abroad. It's really no different to the tactic wise and gear that you need to fish back at home, really. So it's perfect in that respect as well. So we'll have a switch over and I'll show you what I've been doing, because it's a bit different from what the rigs and tactics that Matt's been using. So as we mentioned, my rigs and tactics are a little bit different to what Matt's been doing, just based upon how I tend to fish at home, really. I've been making up a mixture of quite a bit of hemp, and some of the Scopex squid chops, some 12 millers and some 15 millers, and mixing it all together, and not putting out masses. I suppose I've been putting about a kilo over each spot per night, and to be honest, it's been a bit slower this last night, so tonight I'm probably literally just going to put, you know, maybe half that or not even that out, because I think there's probably still a bit of bait sitting out there. And the rigs I'm using over it, dead simple, really. I'm using double 15mm Scopex squid bottom baits, and a size 7 or 6 Fang X, and then that's tied on the new skin link, and I've just stripped back the last inch and a half. Rig's about 8 inches long, something like that. That's 25-pound hook length. Lead clip setup, 3.5 ounce lead, but what I'm doing is I'm only very loosely setting the lead clip, so I'm losing the lead on the take. It's enough there to set the hook, but then I want it to drop off as quickly as possible just to get the fish up in the water. And then about 2 to 3 foot of the Klingon leader just to try and pin everything down, and that's the rig that's been working. First night when I got here, I started off fishing helicopters on a couple of the rods because there's a bit of silt on the bottom, and didn't have any bites on that. I mean, we didn't have a lot of fish that first night anyway, so I've gone over to this setup and it's worked both on the harder spots that we've been fishing, and also, you know, on recast rods in the night just into the silt as well. So if it ain't broke, why fix it? And that's it, dead simple. I guess there's probably a couple of other things that you do need to bring. I mean, there's some big fish in here, especially the grass carp. They go up to sort of 55 pound in this lake, and they're massive, you know, just massive fish. I mean, they're 5 foot long. So you do need to bring a big unhooking mat with you, Matt, don't you?
Do.
You know.
I mean, David even recommended an inflatable boat in some instances, you know.
We have got, I mean, we did bring like a little inflatable with us, and I think if we had one of those big grasses, that's what we'd probably use.
Definitely.
Yeah, and obviously fish like that, a lot of 40-pound commons in here.
Handful of big cats as well,
yeah, so you're going to want, you know, a big waist sling, you know, minimum 42-inch nets, if not a bit bigger. Just make sure you're geared up to handle those bigger fish, really. And a lot of the swims, obviously we're on the shallow swim, so we're fishing off the front concrete deck, so we're on rod pods. Most of the swims are nice and comfortable and are decked, so bring with you some rod pod or some
stage stands.
Yeah, and you'll be well covered on all the swims.
But if you haven't got a rod pod or stage stands, obviously, as you can imagine, next to the decking you've got grass either side, so you know they can accommodate a few bank sticks as well, can't they?
Yeah, and a couple of the swims as well. The stages are massive, so bring some screws or some cup hooks, so you can set your bivvy up on the stage themselves if you want to fish them pegs. And really, that's it. That's all the extra stuff I'd say bring, and you're ready to go.
That's it. Just get out here and have a good time.
Right, well, it's been a bit quiet for me in my swim for the last 2 nights, so I'd make this decision this morning. I've come around the other side of the lake where the lad's been catching fish. I found myself a lovely little swim in the back of the woods. Literally no other anglers around me. It's dead quiet. I've been creeping out, placing baits in the water in the waders, coming back to the bank, and within the hour I've managed to bank myself a lovely little mirror, so it's paid off. The move has paid off. I knew if I stayed in the swim I weren't going to have fish this morning, and I had to make my own luck, which is exactly what I've done. I banked this chunky mirror. What a lovely fish. Chalet Lake's doing the business.
Jason moved back onto the meadow for that night, and it turned out to be a good move.
Well, I could hear the fish crashing over the spot this morning. I thought it was only a matter of time before I had a take. First one was this chunky mirror. Proper unit. Absolutely loving the Scopex squid. During boshing just before first light. And this one was the first to tear off. I also landed the common shortly after, which was like a steam train. What a way to wake up in the morning. Absolute beautiful fish. Well, shortly after the mirror, about an hour later, I had another screaming take off the same spot and landed this absolute steam train of a common. Only 30 pound 12, smaller than the mirror, but it must be an underwater railway line because this went like a train. And he still is. It's warm weather now, it's warmed the water up. I think the fish are coming to life. Absolute fighting machine. Fighting machine. Okay, so we've got just a couple of days left now. The fish seem to be fishing through the night, so my plan is to just trickle bait in on a spot through the daytime. I don't want to make too much disturbance in the night time when the fish are actually moving into the areas where they feed, and I'm literally just going to trickle bait in and just fish those areas, 2 rods on each spot, and fingers crossed we can get another lump on the bank. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly take you through the rig I've been using for my open water fishing. Simple blowback rig, 18mm bottom bait, size 5 Fang X, little bit of shrink tube to kick the hook round, and that's it. That's what's been catching me fish. And before I cast that out, I'm using a piece of PVA foam in the bottom of the PVA funnel web with my boilie, my bottom bait, and then I'm hair rigging that actually through the, and then hooking the rig on to the foam. What that does is it stops the tangle on the cast, and also when this bait drops through the water, this foam will slowly drop it and sit it, because there is a little bit of silt out there. So rather than just it plonk straight down into the silt, this is going to make it settle just nice and gentle on top of it. And it's been doing fish, so yeah, try it. I've also been doing a bit of stalking over in the back end of the lake. It's quite snaggy over there, so I've stepped up my hook to a size 5 claw hook, and I'm fishing that KD style. So I'm just literally whipping up the rig 3 or 4 times, dropping the hair out, another 3 or 4 times, then back through the eye. And the only addition to that, I'm adding a tiny little bit of putty to the curve of the hook, which, if you can see, when you actually pick up the hook, pick up the bait, sorry, the hook immediately drops down into the bottom lip. Yeah, and I landed a 42 pound common on that very same rig. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for my snag fishing.
So we're coming to the end of the week now at Chalet Lakes. We've had a few fish. Everybody's kind of using different tactics. Some people are using just bags. Some people are using boilie tactics. Myself, I've gone in hard with the particle on the one rod, really filled it in every night, going out in a boat, just scooping it out there. It's done me a few fish. The majority of my fish has been just off the baited area, where I'm just putting a boilie out, scattering a boilie. I think if I'd have sort of came at the beginning of the trip, I'd have probably binned the particle off, knowing what I know now. But it was a tactic I wanted to use on at least one rod. It did do me the odd fish, don't get me wrong, but it does go to show that everybody's tactics are different. Like Matt is using all his rods on pop-ups. Paul is using very basic bottom bait rigs, double bottom bait rigs and snowmen. Jason's probably similar to me. He's using wafters, bottom baits, and everything is kind of working really. I don't think you need to be riggy on you. There's a big head of fish. I think we've had over 45 fish now between us, Paul. Yeah.
What sort of rigs are you using?
Personally myself, I just use a simple blowback rig, inline lead, hard on the bottom, little kicker just on the back, bit of string tubing, and that's it really. Scopeback squid cultured hook bait. It's dead simple. No swivels, no complications, just nice and simple, presented on the bottom, and it sort of paid off. So I'm hoping to bag a couple more tonight. Going to hold off on the bait a bit this time. I think I'm going to put a little bit less bait in because it's our last night, and see how we go really. I mean, it'd be nice just to bag a 40 before we go, but make it a full set. Everybody else has had a 40 apart from me, so fingers crossed I can bag a nice big chunk.
Well, we thought we'd just take a minute to tell you about some of the facilities that are around the shops and stuff like that you know, are going to be useful for you if you're travelling out to France. One of the beauties of this place is it is in a fantastic rural region, and rural is the key word really. There's not much around here, mate, is there?
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just lovely. It's so tranquil and peaceful. But the good thing is there are actually quite a lot of shops and facilities around in the little villages if you know where to look. So the closest stuff is in a village called Albersroth, isn't it? Which is about 15 minutes, something like that, up the road. Probably not than that.
Didn't have the best of choice in there though, did they?
No, I've got a small supermarket. It's a bit basic to be honest, and next door is a really nice bakery, boulangerie. If you like the croissants and that, first thing in the morning, chocolate croissants, fresh, lovely job. But yeah, apart from that, not much else in that village. But if you go a bit further on, again, another five minutes past there is a little village called Isming. And they've got a bank there and a chemist's, which could be useful, you know, anything you need, always useful to know about. And then about 10 minutes past that is another village called Hellemer, and that's where we found a really nice little supermarket.
Yeah, it was almost like a Sainsbury's Express, is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, that kind of thing. And that really covered everything we needed, didn't it?
Without a doubt, and we came with very minimal food because we struggled with packing space in the car, didn't we?
Yeah.
So after visiting the closer shops and then finding and coming across this better shop, it was awesome, wasn't it? Because we got everything we needed, didn't we?
Yeah. Tap water, there's a tap in the instructions when you join just up the road. I mean, literally 2 minutes away, if that, for your drinking water and stuff. The only other thing I would say is we're staying in the chalet, which has been perfect for two of us. You know, we've bought our bed chairs and sleeping bags, and you know, it makes life so easy. But there is no electric in there, so what I've brought with me is a leisure battery and an inverter just to power all our electrical stuff for the week. you know, if I was to come again, I'd probably bring another leisure battery and probably some sort of lights and light up the chalet. You know, it'd be lovely then.
It's not absolutely necessary
No,
though, is
not
it? We lit a
necessary.
few candles on the evenings, and it made a nice setting.
Going, and we, yeah, very romantic.
It was, mate. Yeah, you've looked after me this week, but
Yeah.
that's another story.
Yeah. And then we've got the kitchen, so you've got bottled gas, and again you can replace that if it runs out in the next village. And yeah, that's about it. A toilet. What more do you need, really?
And
Lovely
the cooker comes in handy, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's just made our lives a bit easier.
Without a doubt.
We've had Barbie going for the four of us at times as well, and it's been really nice. Yeah, that's about all you need to know, really, guys. As the morning progressed, the wind started to pick up, blowing straight down into the shallow end of the lake. Soon Andrew and Jason were on the move, setting up in the swims down at this end, flicking baits out across the open water. The action started coming thick and fast, with first Andrew and then Jason picking up fish right through the day. It turned out to be a bit of a red letter afternoon for the guys.
Well, what a difference a few days can make. The wind's changed completely direction to the beginning of the week. It's now coming down to the bottom end of the lake, and the fish were stacked up at the top end of the lake at the beginning of the week. Wind was blowing down there. Andrew's come down here a few hours ago, and he's managed to bag 2 fish. So I've gone and grabbed my own rod, and I've come down into the far corner here, and it's just a little underarm chuck, and I've bagged myself a lovely 29-pound common. Look at that. Just goes to show that just the change in wind, the carp on here definitely will switch onto it. This one's actually got one eye. Absolute steam train of a fish. The fish in here fight so hard, they just don't want to give up. Great sport.
Right, so all through the week I've been baiting up a little area off the edge of a tree in a far bay. Nobody's been fishing up here. It's really shallow, and I've just been putting bait in first thing in the morning, last thing in the night, trickling in bait, scope X squid. The wind has started hacking down here. It's the last day. I thought, well, it's worth a day session, and I bagged 3. Just goes to show, if you're sitting behind motionless rods with the wind hacking down into a new area, it's always worth a punt. I took a punt and I've landed 3 fish. So this is the third fish. 32-pound chunk, absolute chunk. Not quite ready. There you go. Well worth the move.
After a couple of rough days, the sun's come back out again just in time for the end of our week here at Chalet Lake, and so we've all got together having a beer and sum up how we've got on really this week. So Jace, what do you reckon, mate?
It's been not a bad week at all, mate. Bit slow for me up in my swim. I think I was a bit off the fish to start with. Like I think they were down this end of the lake more than at the other end of the lake, so to speak. But I managed to pick a couple of fish up. Well, I managed to pick one up on the first night, didn't I?
Yeah, that cracker.
Yeah, it's a nice
yeah,
fish.
First morning, didn't you?
Yeah, first morning, which I thought it was, something of things to come, but wanted to be. Had a few nights blank, so had to move. But you lads were picking them up, don't you? When you had a couple.
Yeah, as you say, it was evident that the fish were sort of stacked up down here. We did blank the first night, didn't we, Paul? But we put some rods out. I think we just sort of chucked some old rigs out. We were shattered from the journey down here, and we had a bit of a rest. Woke up the next morning, and as Jay said, it was evident there was a few fish here, and we spent a bit of time locating them, didn't we, Paul? And we found a few fish over the far margin underneath some trees. So it was a bit of a no-brainer really to get some rods out there. Do you think?
Yeah, we didn't hear a lot of fish sort of crashing or we've seen very few fish sort of moving during the day, have we?
No,
I mean,
you
Andrew,
don't see
you had more fish crashing in the night down in the middle part of the lake with you, didn't you?
Yeah, there was quite a few fish showing the first night we got here, so I kind of put a decent bed of bait out, and it paid off. I had 2 grass carp off the baited area, and then following I had a couple of proper carp.
Yeah.
It was all looking very promising, and now we've had 2 days where we've struggled and had a grass carp last night. So I think, yeah, the fish are kind of just moving around, and with the wind direction was hacking down here, so it pulled the fish out of my area down in front of the chalet.
That storm, what day was the storm? It was storm windy,
Yeah, I mean the conditions have been all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, we've had when we turned up, it was shorts and t-shirts,
Yeah.
sort of 25 degrees, and then we've been right down to sort of really cold at night.
Yeah.
Which I think has really affected the fishing. Certainly the last few days,
Yeah.
we've been so variable.
Yeah.
It's definitely meant the fish haven't settled. I mean, it was interesting that we had a lot of action off the grass carp, and there are not that many in here.
Yeah,
Last
last night
night
we all picked them up, didn't we?
Yeah. The night prior to that was really slow. So fingers crossed tonight. You know, there might be some proper carp on the munch.
Pressure's dropping towards the end of the week anyway. So
yeah.
Well, you've been running around like an headless chicken all week, haven't you?
I can't stop, mate. That's the way I am. It's the way I fish when I'm home, and you know I don't change. That's the way
And
I
you
am.
find that proactiveness sort of banks you more fish?
Well, yeah. Look, I was down there, like I say, I wasn't on fish. And I've moved over there that one morning. I had a 42 common from
on
up
a
the,
6
up the
foot
Maggie,
rod.
on a 6 foot.
That must have
on a
been
6 foot
epic.
dwarf.
How did that feel, man?
Bed rolled like this. Right, well, he snagged me up in the end, but we did manage to bank it in the end. Andrew come over with the boat, well done, and yeah, and we landed. It was epic fish, wasn't it? It was an epic fish. So like I say, yeah, just moving about, and I moved into another swim then, and I had 2 out of there. So that just sort of got my total up a little bit, like whereas if I just stayed still and slept in the bivvy, and I
Well,
probably
you set up your base camp, didn't you? And you always had that option to return back to there,
yeah, exactly.
and then just stayed on your feet, and you really have put in the effort, mate. To be fair, so hats off to you.
Effort equals reward, as they say, mate.
That's
it lends itself to that, doesn't it? You know, you can either static fish and put a better bait out and wait for them because they're moving around, or you can go off hunting as well. It's a nice lake for that, isn't it?
Always pays off. Beautiful lake. Work.
Yeah.
Always pays off.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lake. It has some lovely stalking spots up in that top bay up there. It's just nothing there, is it? It's
and
just
you boys, between you've put a hell of a lot of bait in as well, haven't you?
Yeah, you put a bit of bait in, yeah.
Mainly
Andrew's put a lot of bait in. Yeah,
found a bit of an area, 21.5 wraps. It's like clay, sort of. It's not so deep. The depth of the clay can be quite sort of deep in areas where you really pull in the lead out. Where I was landing down on this mark, it just seemed a little bit more firmer. So
thumping down.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of concentrated on that area really. It's done quite a few fish, but last 2 nights it's been a bit of a struggle, you know.
And off the flip side of that, me and you have baited a little bit lighter, haven't we, Paul?
Yeah, we've been putting a bit out, probably, I don't know, £1 of bait per rod, something like that per night. Spreading the rods around in different areas, and we've had fish off the bait, and then also, you know, just on sticks as well, haven't we?
Little PVA socks.
Yeah, you've been picking them up. We've done well down there. We've done really
I
well.
just think we were on a lot of fish for a couple of days.
Yeah,
the
seem to have
conditions are
moved
right
about
for
now a
them.
bit, don't they?
Yeah,
the wind's changed the boat.
I think we've all fished well though, and effectively we've all been rewarded, haven't we?
We've all fished differently, and we've all had fish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Good fish
Which
as well.
Is good.
Yeah,
it shows we fished our strengths, and we've all done okay. So last night, more the same, and
hopefully Andrew can get a 40 tonight. That's what we need. We need Andrew to get a 40. We've all had 40 plus commons.
Well, I've been fishing really sort of sweet baits all week, and I said to Paul earlier, I knocked up a bit of a krilly pellet sort of mix, and I said tomorrow, because the days have been really slow for us, I said tomorrow I'm going to put in something really stinky and pungent, and just to see if that can nick me an extra bite in the daytime, you know, that attractant levels going up, and hopefully bringing in a couple more fish, but we don't know unless we try.
That's it. All my fish have been on the scopex squid, and I've just been, you know, soaking them in a little bucket of water with a bit of bait soak, scopex squid bait soaking them, letting them draw all that in through the day.
Bit of extra attractors.
Yeah, like you say, a bit of stinky stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems to have drawn a few fish in there.
So get the rods back out in a little while, and
Wait for
We'll
the sun
see
to go
what
down.
tonight brings. That's it. Yeah.
But overall,
Sunning it down.
it's been a
fantastic.
Oh, it's lovely.
cracking
It's
week,
absolutely
and
beautiful lake.
Yeah, it's been a good
Beautiful lake.
social. A few beers
Beautiful lake.
and barbecue last night as well. So it's been
Yeah.
good. It's what it's all about.
It'd be nice
Yeah.
if this lake was local.
yeah,
It would. It's just my type of lake.
Awesome.
You know, I can
Yeah.
you can fish open water. You can go and do a bit of stalking. You can just do a bit of everything, can you? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's ideal. That's what you want.
Nice one. So, well, thanks guys. Thanks for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it, and maybe it's encouraged you to book up and come out. We really can't recommend it enough. It's a lovely little lake. Fantastic people we've met out here as well. Thanks to Carp Anglers Abroad.
Yeah, Carp Fishers Abroad,
Fishers Abroad, sorry.
and if you want any information, that's info@slf.co.uk, and David Rance will pick up your message and he'll get back to you with all the relevant details.
Yeah. So, thanks guys, and thanks for watching. See you again soon.
Well, it's the last morning here at Chalet Lakes. We've had an absolutely incredible week. We've all caught plenty of carp, and I believe this to be the last fish of my session. A nice mid-20 leather carp, caught on the Scopex squid. It's been an incredible week, incredible venue. Get yourself booked on for some of these lovely times.
Right, here we go. It's our last morning on Chalet Lakes. The fish came down into the deeper water last night, so we kept the bait going in, and I've had two this morning. Last fish of the session, nice cracking mirror and a 28 common. That's taken me to 14 fish now. The action's been pretty good. Couldn't really ask for anything else. 40 would have been nice, but what an awesome venue. Action.
Okay, so we've just about come to the end of our trip here at Chalet Lake in France, and the action over the last 24 hours has been prolific. We've had fish through the night, just before light, and like this one on first light. Absolutely beautiful fish, typical of the fish you're going to catch here.
He's tired.
Please let me end this on lovely times.
Also, 3, 2, 1. Lovely time.
Lovely times.
Dilly!
Mega venue. This is fish number 14. Had 2 runs this morning, 28 common. Just blown away. Awesome venue, awesome times, great social.
Happy days, let's go on.
Let's go home.